just for Michael and Clifton, here is an overview of what Survey Gold is all about. And I will give you much more detail about this, but just give you a general quick tour through what it can do. And I'm going to use the Honor Council survey as an example of it. So a survey consists of a title, sections, and in a section are questions. So I created this by giving it a title. I created a section called Who Are You? And in each of these sections, I put a question. In order to do these, I created a survey, Honor Council Survey 2017. I created a section, Who Are You? And then I clicked here, and that one by one made a question. As I made a question, I was able to put in the responses. So I type in here my question, and then I type in here my responses, and they all get listed as a response. If I wanted to have an open response, that is, they just type in whatever answer they want, then I leave this blank. See, for a fill-in question, blank question, leave a set of choices. And I have choices as to how that blank question can be formatted so that it can be either a one-line box or a fill-in box. So let me give an example of that. Additional comments. So the additional comments, please comment on what we can do better. When we take a look at this, there's no responses because I want them just to type something in. And then when I go to the web form settings, it lets me have a scrolling text box, or I can just do a one-line text box if I'm like getting just a single piece of information from somebody. All right. So I created all these sections. I put in all these questions. Then I save it to the web. Boom. Save as web form. It's going to create my response. Here I can change the appearance of it. Like these are the various colors that I can put into it. I can say if I want to have a go back feature, progress bar, multi-page thing. Here, if this was something where somebody gave me their email address in order to do this, then I can send them back an auto response email to them saying, thank you, I've received it. And then I create the web survey. Now this is the Honor Council survey is an anonymous survey, so we're not collecting that information on anybody. And so here's what it looks like. So choice here, here. Then when you get down to please describe any other, here's an example of a text box. So we collect that kind of things. These are all different sections right here. When you have a similar answer in any given section, it lets you do sort of a grid where you can set it up, and it's a little bit easier to read. So that's how we set up the survey. Every time a survey comes in, Survey Gold, in fact, you can set it for as often as you want. I think mine goes every half an hour, and it goes to the cloud, and it collects the surveys that have been done within the last 30 minutes or something like that. Downloads those surveys. And so if I was going to look at the Honor Council survey, here are all of the individual responses that came in because they're anonymous. They're all labeled anonymous. But if I clicked on any given one, it would take me through question by question all of the responses that that person gave. View results gives me a graph representation or data representation of what the answer is. In this particular one, I'm using a pie chart, so that's telling me the percentage of students and the percentage of faculty members who responded to that question. If I go down to an open-ended question like what types what other ways have you seen people cheating? Where's that? What other types of films? So here's where people wrote in those text boxes answers that they wanted to have considered. And anytime you want to see somebody's entire form, you could just click on their response, and that takes you to the entire form that that person filled out. Boom. All right. And now here is where we do really interesting stuff. So Survey Gold will automatically take all that data and dump it into a Word report that's categorized by question just by saying publish to Word. And this is going to be huge because this is a lot of data in it. You can tell it what information you want to include in it. And I asked for tabular information in that because if it prints graphs in a Word document, it's going to make that document very, very long. That took, what, all 5 seconds? And here's a nicely formatted report done by questions. Goes in here. I want to get past all this. Boom, boom, boom. Lists all the people. And then it gives me by question the statistics that go along with that. All right, so that's nice if you want to compile all of your data within that. But really what we want to do is sort it and take a look at it in another way. So we're going to say convert these responses. And it's going to say, how do you want me to convert it? I can do it to SPSS, to text, to Excel. I'm going to go to Excel. Boom. I'm going to wait all of 15 seconds here, and it's already formatted it to Excel. And now I'm going to open the form, and here is my survey. Here are my questions, question 1, question 2, question 3, and I can take that data and do with that what I wish. And there are all sorts of specialized things that you can do depending on what you want your survey to look like and do. Like for this survey, we're having a banquet for our social workers, and so within this survey, I had people filling out that they're going to be coming to the banquet. Who are they? When did they graduate? Did they come to a reception? What do they want for food? So when I get over here, I can take a look at my view results. I can see, what does everybody want to have for food? Okay, here's the chicken, fish, and all that kind of stuff. But the piece I want to show you about this especially is that when these folks fill out that banquet request, let me see where that is. Banquet, here we go. I'm gathering their information. Every time somebody sends in an RSVP and fills it out online, Laura is being sent a copy of that. I could click here and have a copy of it sent back to the respondent so that they would have verification that their thing had been submitted. Again, I can choose the appearance of it, and with this particular option, I put a TU logo at the end of it. And I could also send them to our TU website once, our social work website, once they've submitted it. And here's the autoresponder where I'm able to put in an email that comes from me saying hi, and this sends them a separate email from their actual application or their form that says, hey, thanks, I received your information from this. All looks good. So I could see very easily how to create a scholarship form where we would just have to sit down and figure out what kind of fields we want, or do we want to have data fields? Do we want to have your explanation of why you need it? You could categorize that and then leave an open. The next question could be an open one where they actually write a response, and then you could categorize your data and work it all the way around that. So that's the quick overview. It's about $100 they have various kinds of stages of licensing, but for me, this $125 license gets me everything that I want, and you can see I got a bucket load of surveys that I have done and probably a half dozen that I'm keeping track of right now. Let me know. I'm happy to help you and get it all worked out. Thanks. Good talking with you this morning.